Hey there, in this video we're going to dive deeper into your relationships. I'm going to explain to you what relationship or attachment styles are and how they are created. And most importantly, we're going to dive into the tactic or protection or survival mechanisms that you have created as a little child to get your relational, emotional, and basic needs met. We're going to investigate whether your relationship style and your coping mechanisms are healthy or unhealthy and are helping and serving you or not helping and not serving you to transform yourself in your life. Because I strongly believe that if you want to change yourself in your life, but also if we collectively want to change the world that we are living in and create better systems and a better society for all, we have to start small. We have to start at home. We have to make sure that our little universe, our little community, our little planet Earth at home is functioning in a healthy way, is emotionally mature, has healthy relationships. We have to make sure that love can flow, that we feel safe to express ourselves authentically, that we feel safe inside of ourselves, and that we have it in ourselves to create a safe space and a safe surrounding or environment for the people around us and for our children. Our society and the systems we are living in is forcing every human being already from birth, from the moment they are born, from a very young age, to live in survival mode. This is because of the capitalistic system we are living in and the fact that our mere existence isn't free. It's the same society that is also using fear and mind control to condition us into believing that we live in scarcity, that we are incomplete, that there is something wrong with us and that we should work hard the rest of our lives to compensate that. So the capitalistic system, the fear tactic, and the illusion of scarcity are forcing you to suppress who you truly are already from a very young age to survive, to conform so that you fit in, so that you survive. And it also stresses you from the moment you are born because you have to make sure that you have money in order to get your basic needs, such as food and shelter, met. This survival mode that we are living in the systems we are living in, forces us to be on guard all the time, to be dysregulated all the time, to be hypersensitive, overstimulated, and to be stressed and anxious all the time and busy with surviving. This society also creates a very individualistic culture where every human being believes that it has to run and fight for his life and compete with others, and that it is separated from others and very helpless, alone, and powerless. And because all of that, our society up until today is very emotionally immature. So our political leaders, our caretakers, our teachers, our parents, they do not have the time to emotionally mature, to recover from survival mode, to get out of the systems we are living in and to start with living and thriving and relaxing. And because of this emotional immaturity, our children do not get their emotional needs met. They are not seen, valued, recognized. They do not feel safe. They feel alone. They feel separated. They feel emotionally neglected in some way. And a very individualistic and emotionally immature society that uses fear and mind control and the suppression of authenticity is very stressful for a little child that has emotional and relational needs that cannot be met because of the society we are living in. This is why I always say, you're not broken, the system is. And the fact that you struggle or suffer in life mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually is not because something is wrong with you, but because your reaction, your struggles, your suffering are a very normal reaction to an abnormal system. And growing up in a society like this as a little child that is very emotionally immature, individualistic, capitalistic, stressful, fearful, and make you believe that there is something wrong with you, incomplete, and that you live in scarcity, is a recipe for relational trauma and a recipe for the fact that you start to distrust the world around you and you start to distrust yourself. You are being encouraged to self-abandon in order to fit in and in order to receive your basic emotional, physical, spiritual, and mental needs. And as a human being, when you are a little child, you are very, very helpless. You cannot survive on your own. So you are very dependent on your parents or caretakers. It is through them that you get your basic needs met, like food and shelter, but it is also through them that you get your emotional needs met, like love, recognition, validation, physical touch, making you feel safe, etc. And out of this helplessness as a little child, already from a very young age, you have this fear of abandonment living inside of you, which is very logical, of course, evolutionary spoken or evolutionary seen. Because you are so helpless when you're a little, the last thing that you want to happen to you is that you are being abandoned by the parents that created you and that you need to survive. It's this fear of abandonment that is helping you to survive, and that is helping you to create survival mechanisms to make sure that the people around you are close to you, love you, and give you what you need. But because of the emotional immature society that we are living in, often your basic needs will be met, but your emotional and spiritual and relational needs will go unmet, especially when your parents themselves are very emotionally immature, traumatized, or did not have parents who were capable of meeting their emotional and relational needs. And when your parents aren't capable of giving you what you need, what you want emotionally and relationally, this leaves a gap inside of you, a wound inside of you. It makes you feel alone, helpless, powerless, unseen, unloved, unheard, maybe even unworthy. So next to the evolutionary fear of abandonment, there's also an emotional and relational and even spiritual fear of abandonment. The fear that you have to feel that pain and that grief of the emotionally immature and absent parents again. And this fear of abandonment, evolutionary and relationally or emotionally, is what is causing you as a little child to create coping or survival mechanisms to get your needs met, but indirectly or in a covert way. And this is how your relationship style is created, the way you relate to others and the way you make sure you get your needs met. And this relationship style or these coping mechanisms can be healthy or unhealthy, dependent on the way your parents mirrored that to you and taught that to you. But you take them with you throughout your life and you use them in every relationship that you have after the first relationship with your mother and your father. And often when your parents were incapable of meeting your emotional, relational needs or even your physical, basic needs, you try to do your best your entire life to have your basic and emotional and relational needs met through others, directly or indirectly, overtly or covertly, because you are trying to soothe the fear of abandonment that is living inside of you. You're trying to fill the emptiness, the gap, the wound that is living inside of you. But you're not going to find it externally. This is part of maturing emotionally, to start to understand that the pain, the grief, the gap that is living inside of you, that you are the only one that is capable of healing that. You are the only one that is capable of filling that from the inside out. It's part of the facing the reality as it is, facing the hard, cold world as it is, and sitting with your pain and your grief. But it will be the most freeing experience when you do that. And it's not because we're bad people that we want to get our needs met through others, right? I strongly believe that the only way to get our needs met is through others. We are relational beings. We are beings that want to live in community, that want to relate to each other, that need each other to survive. It's just that because of the society we are living in and the fact that we are being forced to live in survival mode, it's not really making us behave as the best person we can be. And also our relationship styles, our coping mechanisms aren't always healthy. They are often holding us back and blocking us from transforming ourselves and our lives, from creating the change that we so desire, from creating our dreams, and also from creating a planet and systems that are better for us all. So how can our coping or survival mechanisms block us or hold us back? And how can they be unhealthy? What does that look like? Well, roughly spoken, there are two ways to get our needs met. The first one I would say is to be someone who is very good at taking, to be very self-centered, to be always busy with yourself. Do I get enough? Do I have enough? Will I be the first? Will I be the best? Will I be loved? Will I be seen? Will I be heard? Will I be valued? Especially when things get tough, that is the one who drops every relationship, every connection, every commitment, and who only thinks about himself or herself and its own survival. The second tactic or way of getting your needs met is more covert. These are people who are very good at giving, who always give to others, who always place themselves last, who are very good at being centered on the people around them, or very good at people pleasing, who are very good at keeping the peace, at abandoning themselves. The first one causes you to leave others when things get tough. And the second one causes you to abandon yourself when things get tough. But both they are ways or coping or survival mechanisms to get your basic and emotional, physical, mental, spiritual, relational needs met. To make sure that you're not abandoned, to make sure that you are seen, loved, heard, valued. This doesn't mean that number one is good and number two is bad, or the other way around. It's just that I want you to understand that we have coping or survival mechanisms and relationship styles or relationship tactics or even manipulation tactics to get what we want directly or indirectly, covertly or overtly, via others or through ourselves. So being an overgiver, being centered on others instead of yourself isn't always altruistic, isn't always very pure, because often for a lot of people pleasing, overgiving, having no boundaries, saying yes when you mean no, etc., is a way to stay safe, to keep the peace, to survive, and to indirectly get their needs met, to be loved, seen, recognized, and valued by others. These two styles are roughly spoken the way people relate to others and how they get their needs met. And if you want to transform yourself in your life, you have to start to get aware of what your coping or survival mechanism or your relationship style is and how it is holding you back from creating the change that you so long for. For example, for me, I'm busy with building Beyond Psychology, this company, this platform, and I wanted to grow. And to grow, I need to understand marketing. I need to understand sales. I need to start with speaking up, setting boundaries, taking space, manifesting myself. But I am someone who used the more covert tactic to get my needs met, like people pleasing, having no boundaries, being very centered on what everybody else is thinking and feeling and doing, saying yes when I mean no, not taking up space, not manifesting myself, etc. And that is how I survived all those years up until today. That is how I got my needs met. That is how I get my really basic needs met. And also how I made sure I will not be abandoned, rejected, mocked, ridiculed, ostracized, etc. That is how I kept myself safe. But in order for me to grow and to really create the changes and the dreams that I so long for, I have to start with dismantling that covert relationship tactic in my closest surroundings, practicing that to really transform myself inside of me and to really transform that tactic into a more, I would say, overt tactic, and to along the way create the safety inside of me, tell myself I'm safe, I'm okay by doing that, I have to do this, I have to really tackle my survival mode, my fear and anxiety that has always chosen the more covert tactic and giving tactic. I have to soothe that fear, sit with it, create the safety inside, and slowly dismantle that tactic and dissolve it. Feel that I'm still alive after setting a boundary, after taking up space, after doing sales or marketing, for example. And slowly, step by step, feeling that I can do it, that I can manage it, that I'm okay, that I'm allowed, etc. And also, of course, working on the fact that these wounds that are living inside of me, the abandonment wound or the fear of abandonment, the wound of unworthiness, or the grief that is living inside of me from not having my emotional, relational needs met, I have to work on giving that to myself. I have to understand why and how I'm holding myself back, where that is coming from, soothe the fear, anxiety, the wounds, the grief that are living inside of me, and then go do the things that I need to do to get where I want to be. I have to take my responsibility for that. I have to understand where I'm holding myself back, where I'm keeping myself small in order to start with walking and making myself bigger. So ask yourself, what do I do in order to get my basic emotional, relational needs met? What are the tactics that I use to be seen, loved, heard, recognized, valued, to seek external validation? And are they healthy? Are they helping me? Are they contributing to me creating my dreams, creating my path, creating the life that I desire? Are they helping me to transform myself in my life, to grow, do new things? Or are they holding me back, keeping me small? Write it down for yourself, think about it, and let's go and transform it. Hi there, my name is Myrthe Glasbergen. I'm the founder and owner of Beyond Psychology, and I'm also a psychologist, coach, intuitive singer, and creator. And away from traditional talk therapy and coaching, I have created tools for mental well-being with healing music, poetry, spoken word, voice healing, and song that help you to reduce stress, overcome anxiety, regulate and master your emotions, and heal your suffering at the root. And if you want to work on the topic of this video or on the topic of one of my other videos, you can do this in 3 ways. You can work one-on-one with me, just check the link below. You can also check my web shop where I have gathered all my tools for healing, meditations, somatic exercises, visualizations, and healing music. And you can subscribe to my membership and online platform. It will give you access to all of my tools at once. You can now check it out for 5 days for free. Check the link below, start your free trial, and heal your suffering at the root. Thank you for being here and have a nice day.